Hi guys, and welcome to the Website Editor Part 2 webinar. Now today's webinar is supposed to be completely interactive where you guys go ahead in the chat function and let me know things that you want to learn how to do or changes that you want to make on your website. If I don't get any questions, I'm most likely going to just go over a few stuff. If you have not ever attended the Website Editor Part 1, today's webinar may not make any sense to you because you're not going to have any of the basic foundation work. If you haven't attended the Website Editor Part 1, highly recommend that you do so on Friday. The replay is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Well, I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and just show some extra stuff. Now, when you're logged into the CRM system, I'm going to go into the Use in Website Editor to open up the website editor. Now, I'm not going to go over any of the basic things that I typically go over because that is in the part 1. So I'm going to go over some more of the advanced features that our clientele is interested in learning. Now, one of the main things that agents love to have on their testimonial page is either adding in a picture with that testimonial of the client who they either purchased or sold with, or even a video testimonial. Now, if you have those and you want to add that in, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your testimonial page. Typically, that's going to be underneath the About section. First thing you would need to do is actually go in and add in that testimonial. So I'm just going to say, I'm just going to add in that person's name. In this case, I'm going to show you how to do the video testimonial along with a photo testimonial. And I'll go ahead and click on submit. Now do remember, because I've just created that testimonial, it's not already active on the site unless I make it active. I've gone ahead and I've refreshed that page, and you're going to see the first testimonial, the one that I just created, is going to be at the top of that list. If you're having issues with the audio, please make sure you click on the reconnect button. Now, as I go ahead and I'm on this screen, you're going to see there's an option for an image link and there's an option for a video iframe link. Now, the video iframe link is an embed code that we need. Generally, most of our clientele is using Vimeo or they're using YouTube, so we would just go ahead and take the iframe coding from there. To get the iframe coding, super easy. I'm going to use YouTube because I know the majority of people are using that. So let's say I want to use YouTube. At this point, I'm just going to click on any video. So you'll find the testimonial video that you're looking for. I'm going to then go ahead and click on the share button. Now, once I click on share, my next option is clicking on the embed option. You'll see that's going to give me coding and it's already highlighted. So from there, I can just right click. I'm going to do copy. I'm going to go right back into the testimonial and I'm going to click into paste. Now, just in case any mistakes happen, it's always a good idea to click on the save button as soon as you enter in that bit of coding. Now, to enter in the image link, that's a little bit harder. The reason why that's a little bit harder is because most often for a photo, all you do is upload it and then you select it from wherever it's been uploaded to. In this case, it's asking you for a link, so you don't actually have the ability to have an upload option. So the easiest way to get an image link is by clicking, while you're on this page, click on the content editor button. Now I'm on the content editor button. You're going to see that the content box has opened up. So I'm just going to place my mouse anywhere in here. Now I'm just doing this to get a link for the picture. I'm not actually uploading the image in this content box. So once I'm in the content box, next thing I'm going to do is click on the insert image button. I will click on browse server. After I click on Browse Server, let me just make sure that the image gallery is showing. So after I click on Browse Server, it will bring me to my image gallery. I'm going to click on Your Images, and keep in mind all of my images will show up here. Now to go ahead and add in the image, I'm just going to open up a file on my computer, and I'm just going to choose that photo. Now I've gone ahead and added in the photo. So the next thing I'm going to do is click on the Select Image button. Now, as soon as I click on Select Image, the image gallery is going to close. It's going to bring it back to the image property screen. And the only thing I want to do at this point is I want to copy that URL. So I'm going to right click and copy, and then I'm going to click on the cancel button because, again, like I said, I don't want to actually insert the image there. Next thing I'm going to do is where it says image link, I'm going to now paste that image link into there, and I'm going to click on save. So the system will let me know it's saved. At this point in time, I can go ahead and approve my testimonial. So where it says valid, I have to make sure I switch this to yes, and then I'll click on save. Make sure I click on OK to remove that pop-up, and obviously we want to turn off that content editor. Now, because I'm actually on my site, you're not going to be able to see the testimonial as it stands. So in this case, I will turn off the website editor to make sure that you can actually see what the testimonial page will look like to your visitors. Now, to turn off the website editor from the actual website, what you're going to do is click on to the navigation button, and you're going to click on log off. Once I do that, you're going to see that my page, my testimonial page, has refreshed. You'll notice that the image link is there, and there's also the option for the video testimonial. Keep in mind the image and the video will show up above the content or the written testimonial. In my mind, I would not suggest you do a photo and a video. I would do one or the other along with the content. Now I will have to go back to the home screen. You'll notice because I turned off my website editor, I will need to turn it back on. So I'm going to go right back into the CRM system and click on Use in Website Editor once again. Now, some other things I do want to show you guys how to do is getting use out of your widgets. For a lot of people, you have a brand new listing and you want to make sure that your brand new listing does show up at the top of the screen. Now, you do have the ability to use the featured listing section, and then yes, it will be there at the top. But in that case, that may not always be the best option if I have a brand new one and I want it to actually populate on its own so it's highlighted, my sellers will see it and they'll love it. What you would want to do is jot down that MLS number. So I'm just going to choose any listing right now since I don't actually have a listing. So I'm just going to copy this MLS number, and then I'll show you how to add in the widget. So what I'm going to do is while I'm on the home page, I'm going to turn my content editor on. Now I do want to add my featured widget in right at the top. So I'm just going to place my mouse above all of these other widgets that are here, and I'm going to add in my featured widget. So I'm going to do widget, round bracket, featured listing, close that bracket. Again, I'll click outside of the content bar, to save those changes, and I will now turn off the content editor. You'll see automatically a featured listing has populated. Generally, it's going to put the very first listing that is associated to you according to which one has been most recently listed. You do have the ability to go ahead and change that setting to a specific listing, and that can be done. So for example, I don't want this rental to show up. So what I'm going to do is turn on the widget editor. And once I turn on the widget editor, I will click on the featured listing settings button. From here, it's going to ask me again, do I want this to be a global widget or just for this page? I mean, I always switch these things to just for this page because I might want to feature another listing on another page. So I do just for this page. Keep in mind, if you click on just for this page, you do need to click on save and refresh first before going ahead to the next option. Now I'm going to go back into the featured listing settings. You have the ability to choose the layout. Now you should know what layout your site is on. So are you on layout 1 to 4 or 6 and 7? In this case, this website is 6 and 7, so I do have to switch that to 6 and 7. And I'll do save and refresh again, just so you guys can see how that drastically changed the way that the listing populated. This actually is the correct version. Now I will go back into those widget settings. And you're going to see an option for select a featured image. It does say optional. What this basically means is, do you want to override the photos that are currently on that listing? If you choose to select a new image, it's going to override all of the photos. So I generally recommend leave this section alone. Allow the system to pull up whatever listings pictures are associated with that listing. Now you have the ability to add in the title. The default title is my featured listing. That's the title that shows up here. If you want to title it to something else, by all means, go ahead and do so. In this case, I am going to change it to something else. Now I'm just changing it to Stunning Detached Home in the Heart of Mississauga. I want that to show up first. Now it's going to ask me which listing to featured. So by default, it will go to my latest listing. You have the ability to choose a specific MLS number, which is the option I'm going to choose. If you have an exclusive listing or a pre-construction property, then you would choose those options, and it will need you to pull the title that you've associated with that property. In this case, I'm going to use a specific MLS number. You'll see that it's now given me an option to enter in the MLS number. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste that MLS number in here. There is a CSS code section. Please leave that alone. That's pure coding. Even I don't use this section. I literally just leave that up if support needs to make a specific change to the way that the widget is showing up. Now, once you're done, just scroll up, and I'm going to click on save and refresh. And you'll now see that it's changed. Now, I mean, clearly the color of this background is not wonderful. It's pulling from the colors that I've chosen for my site. So that is something that can be changed along with these colorings here. That is something that I do go over in the website editor part 1, but just a quick refresher. In order to change some of the colors, you do want to click on a navigation. You can choose themes, and that will automatically populate colors based on the franchise that you work for. So let's say I want to switch it to the default, and I can click on save. My page should refresh at this point. So you'll notice some things have changed, some things have not changed because of that. You can go into the navigation again. You'll see the top content and footer options. Primary color, it will show you all of the color selections that are here. Generally for this stuff, you'll notice that some of my color has turned that bluish teal color that I like, while others haven't. You really want to make sure that you go through and get that proper information from support. Even a lot of this stuff, because it's done through coding, I personally don't even have the option to go through and make those changes. That is something that support only has the option to do. You also have the ability to change the width of your website. So right now mine is at 1280. So if I wanted to change that, that's something that I can do. So let's say I wanted to put mine to 800. You can click on preview and it will show you what your site's going to look like with the thinner width. So kind of just smushes everything together. So you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I did 1600 and you'll see that changes again. I mean, I definitely like the original setting, so I'll leave it there. As you make changes, make sure you go ahead and click on save at all times. Again, like I showed you, you can always turn that website editor off to make sure you're aware of any of the changes that have been done on your site. This background color here that you're seeing, that's really typically for the layout 6 and 7. I do have the ability of switching my layouts. I'll switch to layout 4. And again, switching of the layouts is something that I did show you in the CRM, the website editor part 1. Now you'll notice as I've gone ahead and I've switched the layout, everything else changes. So sometimes if you're switching from 6 and 7 to something else, it's very, very important that you get support to help you out with those choices, because a lot of times it's not going to populate essentially the way that you like it. Another couple of things that we do suggest, if you are switching it, you do want to make sure that you speak with support at all times, because they will make sure that your website looks appropriate right away, instead of you guys playing around with it at night and then it not turning out the way that you like. Let me go back to these default colors. Now, some other things that I do want to show you is the widgets. We definitely want to work with widgets. To switch your widgets or learn which widgets are available, you definitely want to go through and access our Zendesk. Zendesk is very, very important for those who want to get a better idea of what Agent Locator, the widgets have to offer. For those of you who don't know about Zendesk, you can actually access Zendesk whenever you're in your CRM system by going to the help portal, or what I suggest is just bookmark it. It's https //agentlocator.zendesk.com. By definitely using Zendesk, it will give you a better insight of the different things that you can do with your website. So I definitely recommend you guys going through. Once you're on the Zendesk, what you can do is just type in list and you can type in widget. As you do that, usually the very first document that will show up is the list of all widgets. And this is absolutely perfect for those of you who kind of want to figure out what the site can or cannot do. A lot of the things that you guys would like on it are things that can be done through the widgets. Now, it will give you a list of all of the widgets. Granted, by the names, you may not be able to figure out what they really do, while others are very, very easy to figure out. For example, widget slideshow, I'm pretty much sure that I can figure out what that is right away. Other ones may not be easy enough to figure out. So for those ones, you might want to just continue scrolling down and it will give you an image of what each widget is and what it will show up like. If there's a specific widget that you want to go ahead and follow through with, just simply scroll right back up to the top of the screen, find the name of that widget. So for example, let's say I wanted to use the pop-up widget. In order to see how to create the pop-up widget, I'll just click on widget pop-up and it will take you directly to a step-by-step guide that will show you how to do or add that widget in, and then how to adjust the settings. Now, the pop-up widget is a great widget for those of you who like the pop-up, who have either a contest or a monthly newsletter or something of that nature that they want to add in onto their site. The pop-up widget is pretty good. Now, if there's things, as I'm going through, guys, if there are things that you guys want to learn how to do, please do let me know. That way I can actually go through and help you out with the things that you want to learn how to do on your website. Now, generally, each time I do the website editor part 2, I will go over different stuff. That way you guys have a better understanding of what the website can do instead of me following the exact same stuff over and over again. So if there are specific things that you guys want to learn how to do, like I said, please do let me know right away, and I will go ahead and show you how to make those changes. Now I'm going to go right back to my website. So you'll see after I refresh the page a couple of times, the proper color did show up. So it does look a little bit better. Granted, I can see this better, but I would most likely need to still go ahead and contact support to get this section figured out. Now, one of the major questions that I get asked from agents is about the registration settings. So as you all know, if somebody clicks on a link, the system asks them to register. Some agents like this, some don't. If you're on the fence, I would definitely recommend you leave it on. We have A/B tested this and found that we get more conversions by doing it this way. However, if you do want to go ahead and play around with your registration settings, it's very easy to do so. First thing you would want to do is you're going to have to go right back into your CRM system. So let me switch over. You will be on the screen. Again, to get to this screen, you're going to click on websites and from your main menu, and then click on your domain name. Next thing you're going to want to do is click on the lead gen options that you're going to see here on the left-hand side. Once I go to lead gen options, you're going to see all of the various types of registration settings that are there. They're kind of out of order, I'll be quite frank. So if you want to turn off that very first registration, that black and yellow screen, that is actually this screen here. Now, if you turn this off, keep in mind the user can look at as many pictures as they want from that preview screen. That is not something that can be changed. Other registration settings are forced registration, which means every time that the person clicks on a listing, the system will ask them to register when they get to the third listing. Usually we keep both of these on. So what that means is I can click on a listing, I can bypass it by clicking on view listing, and I can only bypass the registration setting twice. When I click on it the third time, it's now going to force me to register. If I click on the X in the registration page, it's going to take me right back to the page that I was on. So therefore, I will not be able to see any of those further listings. So that's why to us, it's pretty much a good idea to keep both of those on. But like I said, you have the option of turning them off. You also have the ability to hide photos, which will allow that person to look at a specific amount of photos when they get to, so in this case, the 20th photo, the system will ask them to register and they will not have the ability to bypass that. You have the ability to bypass the virtual tour. So right now, if somebody wants to see the virtual tour or the open house information, they will have to register. If you don't want them to have to register and you want them to be able to see that information right away, please go ahead and turn this off. Now, there is a setting that we do have it disabled, but you can turn this on, which means that people have to validate their account in order to see listings. Now they do have the ability to validate via SMS or email. Keep in mind, depending on what board you pull from, for example, if you're a member of TREB, they will have to validate their account anyhow in order to see 100% of the listings. They may be able to see 75 to 80% without validating. Now, this validation is only effective for the website. So if you have somebody set up on the campaign, the buyer campaign, to receive listings from the backend system, they will be able to see 100% of the listings, whether they validate their account or not. So that's a choice that is yours. If you're interested in going with this option, what I would recommend that you do is try it out for a little while, then go ahead and turn it off, and maybe for 2 weeks, and then see how many conversions or registrations you're getting, and then do it without the forced validation and see which one works best. And then from there, decide which one you want to keep as the permanent setting. Now, if you don't want to have any lead gen options on, you're going to have to turn each one off individually and then turn this off. But you do have the ability of turning some on and some off, totally up to you with which way you want to go. The default settings that are there once your site has been set are the settings that Agent Locator has tested. And again, these are the settings that we have found do the best in terms of conversion. We would obviously recommend that you don't change the settings, but we do have a few of our clients who do like to leave the site free of registration, and they only get kind of conversions or new leads whenever somebody fills out a contact form. Now, some other things that agents have asked us is, well, what do I do? I want to make some changes to some of the default messages that pop up on the site. If you want to do that, what you're going to do is, while we're in this backend system, you're going to click on Global Settings. This is imperative information for your site. So this is a lot of the stuff that you're going to go ahead and utilize should you switch companies, or if you want to change the messages. So if you want to change any of the information that shows up on your website by default, you can change your name, the designation. So if you go from a sales rep to a broker, feel free to go ahead and change that yourself. You can update your email address, your contact phone numbers, brokerage information here as well. If you have social media accounts that you've just created and you want to add those links in, that's done from here. Now, for example, for a Facebook link, you're not just going to type in facebook.com. That's not a link. We need to know what the actual link is for your specific account. Same thing goes with any of the other links that are there. If you have a Facebook business account and you want to add Facebook chat onto your website, super, super easy. And obviously it's a free option. You'll just click on show Facebook chat on your website, switch that to yes, and then provide us with the URL for your business page. There are some other free chats available, so I will actually get to that after I go through this page. Now, the system automatically comes up with the options of having a monthly mortgage payment shown. As of right now, you'll see mine says no. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to yes for you. So you'll see it just has the price of the property. But if I go ahead and I say show monthly payments to yes, and I scroll down and I click on save, if I now go ahead and refresh my site, maybe it needs a second. Let me go back into it. See if it'll show me. Oh, it's not populating right now. Give it a second. From here, usually what it's going to do, probably needs another minute to populate. It's going to actually show what the monthly mortgage rate is. So how much that person's monthly mortgage payment would be. So I'm just going to give it another sec. It should most definitely populate. And the monthly mortgage does show up in a different color to make it easier for the different clientele to see. Generally on the actual listing page, it's going to show up in a yellow color. That's always a great option. Now, keep in mind, we do have the ability to have Agent Locator update these values. So it's going to have the interest rate, the amortization, and a specific initial down payment option. If you want to update these rates and information yourself, you want to go ahead and switch this to no. Once you go ahead and switch that to no, you just be aware you will be 100% responsible for updating these figures as they go month to month. So somebody's asking, can you have advertisement revenue generated like my lawyer, your inspector want to be out there advertised? The revenue option, she's totally up to you. I would recommend for every single person on your website, let me actually just go quickly. I do highly recommend that under the About page that you do create a Meet the Team page. And on this Meet the Team page, it'll be a little bit different from the way that mine's showing up. Let me actually go to this page. On your Meet the Team page, what you would want to do is have everybody that you work with, your lawyers, your contractors, your mortgage brokers, your stagers, all of those people play an integral part or an integral role in the transaction, and they are a member of your team. So I would recommend that under your About section or your About page itself, you could put it underneath here, or I would suggest that you create a new page. To create the new page, what you're going to do is go to About. I'm going to click on Add New Subpage, and I'm going to say Meet My Team. Now, theme template, it's set to About. I don't want it to be About because the About theme template is going to pick up my information. So I'm just going to switch it to Other, and then I'm going to click on Save. Now, I will have to I'm going to click on View Live Page. It will bring me to that page, and just turn your content editor on and then put in the information for these people. So definitely you want to do your contractors. You want to do the lawyers that you work with. You want the home inspectors that you work with. You want the mortgage agent or mortgage brokerage. You definitely want to do somebody for home insurance. Most buyers don't realize that has to get done right away. If you have an alarm company, you definitely want that there. Like I said, you want your stagers there. And don't forget to put your receptionists. Your front desk staff is a huge part of your team. They're usually the first point of contact for anybody, especially if you're a seller. If you have seller clients, when people are booking appointments, people are calling ad calls, a lot of time they're going to speak to your receptionist first. So definitely make sure you have a team created this way. You can do like an image with links to their specific website if you want. You can have a Meet the Team page, and when somebody clicks on the contractor, you can either have it go to their own website, or you can create an additional page on your site that link, so therefore nobody's ever taken off of your site. But totally up to you how you would like to do it. And again, just make sure whenever you're done that you do click on outside that dash box to save those changes. To have it pop up as an advertisement, you could do that. I don't really know how you're gonna generate revenue by doing it. Your only other option is using things like the Google AdSense to create advertisements to advertisement revenue, but at that point, I don't think you really have an option of choosing which person is going to populate. If you want to do it as a pop-up, you can most definitely do so. But again, like I said, that revenue generation will be between you and that specific person. To do a pop-up widget, very, very easy. You can use the pop-up widget on any page. Most often people will use it on their home page. And all you do is you're going to type in widget. And I believe it's spelled like this. Now with the widgets, it's very, very specific. So whatever letters are supposed to be capital need to be capitalized, and whatever needs to be small cased need to be small case. So let's see if this. So when I click on the pop-up settings, you're going to see, again, it's going to ask me, is this a global widget? Again, I will say just for this page because you may want to have multiple pop-ups on your screen. Then it's going to ask you, when do you want it to trigger? Let me zoom in a bit so you guys can see that better. When do you want it to trigger? Your options are when the page loads in a specific amount of seconds, when somebody's exiting the page, or do you want it only triggered for you? Typically, you're going to use the trigger only for you when you're testing it out. And now it's going to ask you, how many times do you want it to load? Is it every time somebody goes onto the home page? Do not recommend that option. If somebody goes to your home page or whatever page you're putting the pop-up on multiple times, you don't want that pop-up to continue to show. However, you can if you want, once per visitor session or every time to a non-registered visitor. I'll be quite honest, the majority of time people use once per visitor session. But again, these settings are all up to you and whatever it is that you prefer. Now it's going to give you pop-up width and pop-up height. And it will typically be blank in here, but you guys can actually go ahead and choose what your pop-up widget will look like. If you're not familiar with coding, highly, highly recommend that you contact support, and support can do it for you. So because I'm going to be doing it this way, I'm going to say on load every time the page loads. Now, because I'm testing it out, I definitely want it to be something whenever the page loads, just so you guys can get an idea of what it will look like. So if I go back to my home page, pop-up shouldn't show up because I don't have it there, but if I go to meet my team, it will show up. What's going on today? None of my stuff is working. Let's do it in 1 second. Every time the page loads, it could be something with the coding, but shouldn't be. Now, if I go to that website, so I'm going to quickly go onto my fake site without being in the website editor, just so you guys can have a look-see. Now, depending on how you've had it set it up, if you have it on a specific timer, etc., it will actually take up that time. If you have it on exit, when somebody clicks onto another page, it will definitely show up. Now, for some reason, it must actually be with how I have it set up. So I'm going to actually go in right now, and I'm going to change it to the actual settings that I used to have it on. Now, if you encounter errors like I am right now, where it's just not populating the way that you want, please go ahead and feel free to contact support. Support is really, really quick in helping you guys. And sometimes things just like this happen where it's a little bit finicky and there really is nothing that we can do at that point. So I've gone ahead and I've added in an old one that I used to use. And I will find out. So that shouldn't be happening. So let's see if the support department can help me out with that. And then I will definitely go in and show you guys what they showed me to do. Now, I was talking to you guys earlier about the option of having in the mortgage payments on your sites. So you'll see here it's showing up and it's highlighted. So whoever comes onto it, they'll know 600,000, you're paying around 2,400. So this will give them a very good idea of how much they should be spending on a mortgage. It might also help them figure out if they thought they wanted to pay around $600,000. They might say, oh, you know what, I can't afford 2,400. So maybe I need to go in a lower price point. So by having that up, it does also help you quite a bit. Now I'm going to go back to those settings. That way you guys can see all of the other stuff that I wanted to show you originally. So I'm back on that global settings page. This was the monthly mortgage option, but this is the miscellaneous section. So when somebody comes on, you do have the ability to alter. So when somebody decides to fill out the contact form, you can actually have the ability to alter what text actually shows up. This is really good, especially for that very first registration setting. We have it by default where it says in order to have access to 100% of the listings, please register. That's totally up to you, again, how you want to change it. Now, all you have to do is put in text. You can't put images or anything of that nature in here. So just change your options and make sure you click on Save at the bottom. You also have the options for some other settings. So when somebody clicks on one of the main menu links, do you want it to open up in another window? It is defaulted to no, but you can switch that to yes. Some other options are when somebody signs up from the Get Listings in your inbox, do you want them to be automatically assigned to the buyer campaign? You switch this to no if you want. The issue with that one is when somebody signs up from the Get Listings in your inbox, they're actually end up being assigned to two campaigns. One is the normal buyer campaign. The second one is the automated prospect match. So essentially two searches are created for them at once. So if you don't want them to receive the emails from the buyer campaign, switch this off to no. Next one is very important for the Homeworth page. When somebody registers for Homeworth, the system can automatically show them the different pricing or averages that are in that specific neighborhood. I do recommend for most, if you prefer to talk to your leads right away, I would switch this off to no. Some other issues that we found is depending on what type of properties are in that area, sometimes the averages that populate are way, way, way off because the system can only show you the listings that populate in a 700-meter radius. So if that is the case for you as well, turn it off. Otherwise, that website visitor could potentially be getting incorrect information. Now, we do notify them on the website that it is not an accurate assessment and they really do need to speak to somebody. So that problem is alleviated right away. However, it could deter somebody from choosing to sell if they see that maybe their home is only worth $500,000, even though it's really worth $625,000. You have the option also on the landing pages to have a back to website button. It is defaulted to yes. I would make sure you have it double check that yours is switched to yes instead of the person actually having to click on the back button. And then again, when you're done, click on save. The last part here that I did really want to go over is this conversion code section. If you have the if you're going to be going on to Facebook and creating Facebook campaigns, the paid advertisements on Facebook, it's going to give you something called a pixel code. Please make sure you go ahead and put that pixel code into this section and click on save. If you don't, you will not be able to track in Facebook how many conversions you actually have. Now I'm going to quickly show you they fixed the issue. So when I go to meet my team, you'll see that the pop-up does populate. Now you have the ability on that pop-up widget to change the image to something. It could actually even be a video if you want it to be a pop-up. It can, like I said, it can be anything at all. It doesn't, in this case, I have it as signing up for a monthly newsletter, but you don't actually have to sign up at all. It could just be an advertisement for a specific contractor, lawyer, tradesperson, essentially, that you use. Now, does anybody else have any questions? I know we kind of went all over today, and my website was giving me a little bit of trouble. Again, for those of you who have not attended the Part 1 webinar, I urge you to attend the replay event tomorrow at 11. If you're unavailable to attend in person, to attend the online webinar tomorrow, or any of the webinars, if there's something you're interested in and maybe our timing just does not suit your schedule, which does happen, it is getting busy again. What I would recommend that you do is go to the Zendesk. Again, that's agentlocator.zendesk.com. Once you do, you're going to enter onto this page. From here, you want to click where it says Agent Locator Webinars. When you get onto the Agent Locator webinar, let me make sure it's populating for you. When you go on to the Agent Locator page, you're going to see Agent Locator Webinar. It is the very bottom option. Also note that the training calendar is at the bottom of the page. So if you don't know what's coming up, you can always just click on one of these options and just go ahead and register. But if you want to watch the pre-recorded sessions, all you do is click on Agent Locator Webinars, and you can click where it says see all 11 articles, and it's going to show you all of the different webinars that we have. So let's say if I click on Website Editor Part 1, it's going to show you one of the videos, so you can go ahead and add that in. Typically, you might find multiple options. So for example, if I go into the CRM Part 2, you're going to see that there are multiple options, because generally with the Part 2 webinars, I do go over various topics each time, so none of them are ever going to be duplicated. For those of you who are interested in Facebook, the Facebook webinar is tomorrow at 12. If again you don't have time, just go ahead and watch the webinar here, and it will show you how to advertise your page using Facebook, along with creating a campaign using Facebook. Now, for those of you who have any questions, please feel free to email me directly. My email address is rhea@agentlocator.ca. And I do urge you guys, for those of you who haven't attended the Part 1s, I cannot urge you enough. Really attending the Part 1s, whether that's the CRM or the website editor, will give you a better understanding of how all of the systems work. I do understand without it, you might be a little bit lost, because I've kind of not gone over any of the basics. But thank you for attending. And like I said, tomorrow at 11 a.m. is the Website Editor Part 1 replay. So if you haven't seen that or you need a refresher, please make sure you register.